Matt with SRS Paranormal, and we just got a package in today from Josh Bender over at Deadlights. And we decided to upgrade our lights for our YouTube series Spirit Detectives so that we could get better lighting during our filming and be able to get larger venues than we were before. We use handheld modified high definition cameras like this Canon Vixia modified by Gotcha Ghost. And in the beginning we were using this type of lights, smaller little lights that have more of a spotlight effect. They're also not diffused, so they're good for very small areas but not larger ones. We then upgraded to another type of light that's pretty popular in the paranormal community. And while this light is obviously better than this light and is more powerful, there's a few problems. One is the type of special batteries that it uses. You'll go through them a lot during an investigation, especially if you're running it at high power. The second problem is the door on the back fell off and we lost it somewhere during an investigation. So keeping up with the batteries, plus the cost per unit, and a few other factors, we decided that this wasn't the right solution for us. Another thing that's in this box is two of Josh's demon lights, which are a smaller 10-watt light. These particular SJ cameras are full spectrum that we modify in-house, and we use a unique mount for them. We don't use the regular waterproof case like you'd see on a GoPro. And that presented a little bit of a challenge in how we would mount the lights. And Josh was nice enough to customize versions of the Demon for us that would allow us to use these cameras the way that we use them. And the reason we don't use the waterproof cases is we've found that this allows the camera to be more natural in its environment. So we needed a lighting solution that was better than what we were using. We were using these typical IR emitters that you would use for a security camera. Again, the problem is they're a very focused beam. And then dark spots would be illuminated with these small illuminators. Two problems. You have to convert this to either power, which you often don't have at locations, or you had to make it work off 9 volt, which meant more batteries. The second thing is these use a special little battery like you find in smoke detectors and alarm sensors. They're costly and they go pretty quick in these little devices. So to try and streamline our IR lighting sources, we decided to go with Josh based on the reputation that he's built in the community and on Facebook. So without further ado, we're going to open Josh's box here and see what we've got, and then later on we're going to take these different light sources and add to this video a comparison showing what the different lights are like and what the improvement it is with the Deadlights. And while I'm unboxing this, I want to say that Josh is excellent with his customer service, and that's something you don't find very often today. So let's see what we've got in here. Alright, first we've got our charger. I believe this might be the charger. It's kind of like Christmas, we don't have what's in here. Oops. These are the mounts that we're going to use to hot shoe or cold shoe the smaller demon lights to the SJs. I believe this is the battery setup that actually goes for the main necro light. So we have that. I have a charging cable here. We have a wall charger to charge that up. And here is excellently packaged, which is also good for shipping. So much so that I can't get into it. Alright, there's the very well handcrafted Deadlight. One thing you'll notice is this front panel, and what's excellent about this is a diffuser. And we talked about with these other lights, you don't have that diffusion. And the problem is you'll get hot spots when you're filming, and this will take care of that. Plus you can also see it's a lot more illumination. You can do 1 bank or 2 banks, and you can adjust the intensity of it. So really excited about that. The craftsmanship is excellent. So can't wait to get that up and running and see how that performs. And here is one of the smaller demon lights that we'll be using with the SJs. And we leave those on locations to be able to film when we're not in a room. But here it has the mount that allows us the dual option. This will allow us to mount this in either configuration with the extra hot shoes. So that's going to give us that diffuse light, and it's going to give us the ability to use them with the SJs in the way that we like to use them. So once again, thank you, Josh, for great craftsmanship and great customer service. Can't wait to get these things out in the field and see how they perform. Alright, we're outside here, and we're going to do a quick little test of the Deadlight outside. There's a little bit of ambient light from nearby, well, down the street lights, but it's pretty dark, as you can see. I'm going to turn on the first bank and give you 20 watts. And we'll dim it back, and we'll give you full. Now, keep in mind also, we're outside. That's 20 watts outside. That's one bank. And that's pretty impressive, because whenever you record outside, it's a lot different than investigating inside, because the IR has nothing to bounce off of and come back to the camera. So you need a strong light source to really get any penetration outside. And this is getting really good penetration into the wood line there. And that fence is probably 50 or 60 feet. I don't know if you can see back there, the edge of my roof, that's probably a good 120 feet. And this is full spectrum, by the way. The camera's not set to IR. I just have my white balance set to a kind of a blue hue. I like to film in a blue hue because it's kind of like black and white. It takes that pink out and it gives you more depth for shadows. A 10-watt Demon on a Panasonic Lumix camera that we modified in-house. As you can see, I mean, it's shooting really good with just a 10-watt. This is the IR solution that we were using, and there's that spot effect. So again, notice how grainy your footage is when you're using this type of light. Now, we had one stronger light that didn't have as much spot effect, but still, overall, this is the type of quality light that you get from most lights. Alright, so that's the Necro with a single bank illuminated. And again, I'm shooting in the white balance custom to give it that blue hue, because I just think that's easier for seeing shadow movement. It's easier to identify bugs, dust, things like that than in the pink full spectrum. It's also easier on process video, just looks better. But you can turn that down, and this would be all the way down. The lowest power with one bank of the Necro is showing you the difference. That's about what we had with the previous footage from the previous lights. So if we tune that up to get the full 20, I mean, that is excellent. It's giving you HD, and this is without the IR filter. An IR filter would actually improve the image even more, but a lot of people don't use IR filters, so we're leaving it just like it is. Now let me put the second bank of lights on. Now that is the full power of this light, and you can already tell there's a huge difference just from that to that. And again, this is a small room, so actually the 40 is probably too much for this room. So to conserve power in this room, if you wanted to run the full 40 all the time, you could dial that back to where it's visually appealing. So just wanted to point out that I think his lights are phenomenal, and to have that flexibility, you can tell the light is nicely diffused. There's no hot spots, there's no glare. The way I'm running it on this camera rig, the camera's slightly in front of the light at Josh's suggestion, just to get the cleanest balance of IR light source, and it's producing a fantastic result. If we were in a really large place, I have no doubt that we'd be able to get great distance out of this light. This type of lighting is what we've typically been using, and it creates a huge spot effect. So often we would place them to where they would point the spot towards the ceiling and illuminate the room this way. That's what we've been using. And the problem with that is you can get really focused beam, or you can get very ambient type light. That often creates reflections and issues like that reflection right there, which sometimes can give you false anomalies if somebody moves the light. So that's what we've been using. And now here is the Demon. So I'm going to turn this off, and we're going to do the Demon, maybe. And there is the Demon. It's more than enough light to light this room. It's much more even light, it's much more constant light, and I'm really very pleased.